It's hard to argue against the iconic nature of Mario's mustache. His face caterpillar has become a video gaming icon almost as much as he himself has. But why does he have it? What made Miyamoto, Mario's creator, decide to give this man the most magnificent whiskers of all? And why is his mustache a different color than the rest of his hair? And most importantly, how is his mustache so perfect? Like, seriously, I've been trying to grow this thing for 2 months just for this video, and this is as far as I've gotten. But my apparent lack of masculinity aside, hello, and welcome to Gnoggin. I'm your host, Loxton, and today we are answering all of those questions I just said in the video. Otherwise, why would I even say those questions? So first of all, why does Mario even have a mustache? Mario's mustache had a very simple conception, and it goes all the way back to the creation of Mario himself. Mario's creation was due to the circumstances and the art direction that Miyamoto wanted to take his games. Many games during the late 70s and early 80s in the West emulated lifelike proportions for characters, but limitations of hardware meant that if Miyamoto made a realistically sized Mario, then Mario would only have 2 pixels for a face. And Miyamoto wanted to show a bit more expression than that, so they went with a more cartoony character design with a larger head and stubby limbs. Everything about Mario's creation was made to make a better looking game, not necessarily a more realistic one. They used every pixel available and even cut corners to emphasize the look of Mario, to make him feel good to play as. And part of this design direction is also why he has a hat. Having a hat cut down how many pixels were needed for hair, and you could just add in eyes right underneath the hat without having to give him eyebrows. The same can be said with his mustache. Without the mustache, his pixely face looks kind of like a blob, so let's add the mustache. If you put it below the nose too far, he loses his chin, but if you put it too high on the nose, then he suddenly becomes pointy and thin. But if you add just this 1 pixel of hair here, it makes it look like an extra large poofy mustache. And it is implied that he has a mouth underneath it. Your imagination fills in the blanks. These features followed Mario all the way from his debut as Jumpman to the current date, and most likely this will continue being his iconic style in the future. Due to the limitations of the NES, they were only allowed 3 colors per sprite, so what colors did they choose for our hero in red? Well, red. And a good accent of red is a dark color, so they chose an almost olive brown for his boots, shirt, and facial features, with an orange-ish flesh color making up the face and hands along with the overall's buttons. Later on, during Mario's next 2 games, they added an outline so he would stick out against the more colorful backgrounds, but this outline was still within the 3-color limit. And considering he needed his iconic red and some flesh color, well, guess that means the mustache is stuck being the same color as the outline. This meant blue and black in Mario 2 and 3. This was similar to how old comics would print shadows in blue rather than black in order to get more contrast and hues. Mario also sported a blue mustache, but it was intended as black, as seen by all the artwork. They also realized that overalls are made of denim, and denim is blue, so they swapped his shirt to red to keep that high contrast and match his hat. So there we have the creation of Mario's mustache, but let's go deeper into the evolution of the world's most iconic piece of facial hair. Even as times changed and Mario found himself in more and more games, his mustache was never taken away. By the time technology was good enough to make him still look decent without one, he already had an iconic look. And plus, all the merchandise had already been made. When you make a mascot for your game series, it's best not to change them too drastically, and Mario was more than just a mascot for Mario games. At this point, Mario was the mascot for all of Nintendo, and possibly even gaming as a whole. So best not to change him too much, especially when he already has a nice and friendly look to him. Speaking of which, yeah, his mustache certainly gives off a happy, friendly glow. I mean, you know how some mustaches can make people look creepier? Well, Mario's mustache just oozes happiness, and this is all thanks to the slight upward curve even present in the original Jumpman series. It gives off an appearance of a smile that signals to the player that Mario is happy at his job, and you should be happy playing this too. So we have a friendly plumber with black hair and a black mustache. Well, wait, his hair is brown now. When did that happen? Well, I'll tell you. It happened around the time of Super Mario RPG. From then on, our plucky plumber proudly packed pecan brown hair in the games. but outside of the game Super Mario RPG and Mario 64, this isn't actually the first time we really see this hair color change. In fact, the box art and official art of Mario, we can actually see this change took place way before either of those games existed. His brown hair dates back all the way back to the cover art of the Japanese and European versions of Super Mario Bros., his first NES game. So now the question arises, does he dye his hair or is this his natural color? Why the sudden change? And who decides these kinds of things? Firstly, no, there's no real evidence that suggests that he dyes his hair. In fact, he wouldn't even need to, as this actually isn't an abnormal or strange trait at all. This is actually a fairly common trait, not just in Mario. Our hair color is dictated by the pigments in our skin, and there are two pigments that are in hair coloring. Emulanin, which gives us the dark blacks or brown shades, and pheomelanin, which gives us the red and yellow shades of hair. People with low levels of emulanin tend to have lighter hair or blonde hair, and vice versa. And sometimes people will have different levels of each in different patches of skin. This is why some people, including myself as a teen, would have brown hair, but if I ever tried growing facial hair, it would be a very light blonde peach fuzz. I'll also use Josh as an example. Josh here is an assistant on this channel, and just look at him. Brown hair, reddish beard. You're weird. So this color difference in Mario can easily be natural, but who gets to decide what his hair color is? Well, the creators of Mario, obviously, and it just so happens that the creators of Mario have quite a big amount of pull within Nintendo as a whole, with Mario being the most iconic Nintendo character. There have also been interviews that cover this exact question. Quote, Mario's mustache and eyebrows are black, but his hair is brown. Does he dye his hair, or is that natural? Or is that a toupee? End quote. To which Takashi Tezuka said, he's naturally brown-haired. And then Shigeru Miyamoto said, this goes into a technical explanation of the number of colors that you could use in the early days. Mario was originally red, blue, white, and black. Maybe it was around the time of Super Mario Bros. 3 that we changed his hair to a different color. What really happened was that when drawing the character, it became much easier to draw the mustache as an extension of the outline of his nose. Using that same color of black, we drew the mustache. But then we felt bad for Mario that he didn't have a distinct hair color, so we gave him brown hair. End quote. We felt bad for Mario. I guess that's a reason to do it. His hair color did also help distinguish his outline from his hair, but why wait so long to implement that hair color in your games? 2 words. Sprite limitations. Again, we come back to why Mario looks the way he does as a whole. Everything that was done with his design was done with precise control to give you, the player, the most appealing visuals. Even his overalls were a major design decision, done so that you could see contrast from the arms of his shirt and the torso of his shirt. But no, why is his mustache so large and poofy? It's just so perfect! He must have some amazing genes. It must be because he's Italian. One of the stereotypes of Italians is that they are quite hairy. So, is that why Mario's Italian? The name Mario just sounds like the epitome of Italian names, and I don't know anyone that wouldn't connect the name Mario with Italy. So what's the history of Mario's name? Well, Mario's original first name in a game was Jumpman, but he was also known as Mr. Video. Both names are kind of lame. Jumpman limits you to pretty much jumping. You could definitely never add flying mechanics, and Mr. Video doesn't sound very friendly or welcoming. It sounds too professional for a blue-collar plumber/carpenter. At least, that's what the American Nintendo division thought when they were making a localized release of Donkey Kong. So, what are they to do? Well, they just name him after their landlord who was picking up rent that day, barging into the meeting where they were trying to figure out Mario's name. His name was, you guessed it, Mario Segale.
Of course!
Apparently he bore a striking resemblance to our man who jumps. Mario Segale is an Italian-American who... Wait. He doesn't have a mustache? How could you do this, Nintendo? He looks nothing like our beloved Jumpman. Well, I guess if you shave Mario's mustache, he is terrifying. But you can see similarities between Jumpman and Segale. It has been confirmed by multiple Nintendo interviews that this is who Mario is named after. This arbitrary person who just wanted his rent money has now been immortalized. It goes to show that you should always be lenient on your renters. Eh? I don't think my landlord watches these. So, Mario is definitely Italian, and this is especially apparent when you look at his sun-kissed olive skin tone that he had in the first few games, though his skin has been lightening up as time goes on. His hair is a dark brown, also lightening up as time goes on, except for his mighty mustache. And his mustache is still amazing as ever. I mean, do you see this? It has individual hairs now. So just how is this mustache so amazing? Well, hair growth, particularly in the face and body, is stimulated in the body by your levels of testosterone. And of course, men produce significantly larger amounts of testosterone, which is why men naturally grow beards and they are generally hairier. Though that's not to say that if you have low testosterone, you'd be smooth or just fuzzy. In fact, most men have roughly the same levels of testosterone, though there are certainly outliers in every group. This is why around the end of puberty in your early 20s, we see men growing the fullest and best facial hair, as their testosterone production is at its peak. Though, men with more testosterone end up growing beards sooner in life. But don't worry, all you patchy-faced nerds out there, there's still a chance that you're just a late bloomer. Like myself. The other side to hair growth is, of course, genetics. You heard that right, the thing that explains the way you are is the exact thing that changes the way you are. I bet that's some world-changing information for you. We all know that genetics are a product of our evolution, so what things could affect our hair growth? Well, climate has a lot to do with it. If you take a look at Figure 1, we see a humidity map of the world. It's pretty hot and pretty moist in the Mediterranean. Then look at Figure 2 side by side, which is a regional map of the average hairiness of populace. Here we see that these maps match up pretty quickly. There are outliers, of course, such as the inhabitants of Kazakhstan, as they migrated there less than 1,000 years ago, so we really can't know how the climate has been changing them. So, statistically speaking, what kind of hair do Italians have? Most have black hair along with black facial hair, and they are notorious for growing mustaches early on in life. The most notable mustache in Italy is the handlebar mustache, also known as the spaghetti mustache, due to how common Italian men seem to grow this stylish stache. So what kind of mustache does Mario have? It is similar to the handlebar mustache, but its overall appearance is slightly different. It is typically depicted with a top that curves upwards at each end, like a crescent, and may either be an unbroken line or dip down in the middle to indicate Mario's large nose. These bumps on the underside of Mario's mustache are called scallops. Mario's mustache is insanely perfectly scalloped, with a large number of bumps that give it its classic wavy design. It is typically depicted with 6 bumps of even width, though the 2 middle bumps may be slightly smaller on some designs. All these factors come together and fits the classification of a quite bushy, petite handlebar mustache, mixed with a handlebar with scalloped edges on the bottom to finish the look. So really, his look is entirely his own. It's the Mario mustache in all of its glory and majesty. Some are follically blessed, and others not so much. So I hope you learned something today. And if you like Mario, then check out these other videos right here. They are also awesome. And until next time, please remember to never stop using that noggin.